Hey everyone, this is me building a $3 million per year business in public, and the way these videos always go is I start them off with some YouTube comment Q&A. That's just to give you guys some value ASAP, then bump these videos up to the top of their respective feeds. Then I do growth stats across YouTube, Instagram, and products before finally building in public. This is the main channel here, 156,377. This is the daily updates channel. I just scroll all the way down to the bottom, and then I start answering questions. And the last one's from Ale. He says, "Hey, Nick, thanks for all the great content. It'd be awesome if you could tell us about how to transition to a SaaS model once you're comfortable building automations. In your video about SaaS, you built an example using Lovable and N8N. Can you show us what else would be needed and your thinking process of how you would approach it? Maybe you can walk us through the user authentication, storage, and database, Supabase, billing and subscriptions payments, and customization based on whatever each client's particular context is. And is this setup appropriate for scaling to, say, 1,000 to 10,000 users?" Well, listen, I think this is a good question, but I'm not going to lie. I'm not like a software engineer. I'm okay at software engineering, but I don't know if I'd really count myself the most qualified person to answer this question. That said, I'll still answer. The first thing I would do is I would build a serverless backend. So that's basically what we're doing with make.com and N8N. To be clear, a serverless backend just means, you don't have to manage the server infrastructure or anything like that. All you do is you send and receive events to specific endpoints, like a webhook URL, and then you expect that interface to return you something. Once you've done with this, and this is basically your automation, right? So you're done building the automation. I would then build a front end. The front end would be with something like Bolt or Lovable. You get 1 free year of Bolt inside of Maker School right now, by the way. Very cool. So now your front end, you're just vibe coding it. And then what you're doing is you're sending and receiving events with this serverless backend. So basically it's like, hey, when you click this button, I want you to call this webhook, and then it'll actually build that in, which is really cool. Then I would build some sort of auth. I do that with Supabase. The auth here, if you're vibe coding it, will work out of the box. If you're using Lovable, it automatically integrates to Supabase. I'm pretty sure Bolt also automatically integrates with Supabase for auth. So all this stuff should be pretty straightforward. Now you have some authentication. And then I'd also use, the DB and stuff like that with Supabase. All right. So that's what I would do to start. I would add payments. They'd all be like Stripe, which I try vibe coding with, Lovable and Bolt, probably wouldn't get it. And then in terms of scale, here's the thing you're not going to want to hear. Hire an actual engineer. Because if there's one thing that I know about building these SaaSes with vibe coding solutions that I've seen over the course of the last little while, it's that they typically have very foundational security problems unless you have an actual engineer take a look at it. So Cluely, for instance, was just hacked. Cluely obviously being that cool cheating platform that allows you to have a little AI overlay everywhere. That was pretty big. Hacked right over here, darkagent.dev. Some fella did a bunch of stuff and then went through and, revealed the truth about Cluely and tried to access, their team and whatever. This is a good example of the sort of things that will probably be happening en masse as a result of vibe coded solutions. So if you want to really scale past, let's say, customer number 50 or something like that, I would then invest that into an actual engineer. Okay. So obviously do all this stuff ASAP, get it off the ground. But just because you did all this stuff ASAP doesn't give you carte blanche to not actually put infrastructure in place that secures your customer details, make sure that nothing gets leaked and so on and so forth. You do have a responsibility to do that if you're setting up a SaaS. It's not walking, or rather pushing everything through on the seat of your edge of your seat, flying by the seat of your pants. Anyway, I don't know what the hell the idiom that I'm trying to say is, but the point that I'm making is you can't really just run it and gun it. You can't really build the plane while you're flying it in this instance. If you're dealing with things like customer passwords, sensitive customer information, and so on and so forth, you do need to have an actual engineer look at it. I promise I won't poach your emails, sir. Thank you very much, Harshit. AI Side Hustle says, "Oh, so you're the reason I didn't get that Premier League job." Yep, that was me. Apologies. Hi, Nick, says Zorps. "I'm debating on whether to target local businesses like home service or digital businesses. I know each have pros and cons, but I'm curious what you think. Are there people in your community or just people you've seen be successful with targeting local? Also, what do you think is selling and including a SynthFlow AI caller in your offer? I was thinking of doing this, but I'm not sure if it's good enough yet. I have a plan to have to call leads and book appointments for businesses. I don't really think that makes sense as of this moment in time. So, just to answer that last one, I don't think the tech is really at the point where this is good enough to do some sort of outbound calling. I also think that from a regulation perspective, that is something that might be a little bit sketchy. Much safer today than I normally am, but yeah, I would probably avoid the AI outbound calling right now. And then I know each has their pros and cons, but I'm curious what you think. Definitely target digital businesses, my bro. The reason why is just because the data is so much easier to like scrape and everything. It's way easier to source. It's way easier to get data on people from digital niches versus like in-person niches. You have databases that are super simple. Man, it's like, why would you want to pick the thing that involves rolling a boulder uphill when you could pick one that's like you with your finger pushing the boulder and then the thing rolling on its own? That's the way that I see it. I think I'm realizing here that my light is in the shot. Sorry about that. Cool. I'm actually going to be setting up a whole standing desk system here, maybe later today or early tomorrow, which I'm pretty stoked about. So I'm not going to have to deal with this light situation in my face. Musab says, hey, Nick, really useful video yet again. I'm currently going to launch an AI automation agency in this week. I'm short on budget, so I'm using your strategy of asset-based cold outreach using Apify and Instantly. Would love to join the Maker School once I start getting clients. My main doubt is that I'm niching down to marketing agencies as I've been a social media manager for quite a time. Do you think this is a nice option? So people just keep telling me that selling to marketers is kind of difficult. Also, another question, can you give me 3 to 4 examples of what assets I can send to marketing or creative agencies, which could prove useful to them and doesn't just seem AI generated? Thank you. And Kime says, marketing agencies, the first thing that comes to everyone's mind, do different. Well, I understand your idea here to do different, but like, let me tell you, man, marketing agencies are great. I niche down with marketing agencies, and I'm not different at all, and I still make more money than the vast majority of people would do with an equivalent service. So I guess it just depends on how high you want to push, right? Like if you want to be the Uber of automation agencies and you want to sell to marketing agencies all the way to $100 million a year, yeah, you're probably going to have to differentiate a little bit more than just marketing agency. But if like you want to carve out a tiny little niche, you can target whatever the hell you want, to be honest. And if you have experience with it, yeah, you can make yourself stand out. So anywho, what do you think? I think it's good. This is what I do. No major issues here. 3 to 4 examples of what assets you can send to marketing creative agencies. A really cool, simple one is you can actually build them whole HTML websites, and then you can host them, like one-shot host them. You can do this in a variety of ways. The simplest and most deterministic way of doing this is you basically create an HTML template with the site, and then you feed that into AI and have it populate the HTML template. What you feed in is you feed a bunch of context about the business website. Okay, so like assets for, let's just say, agencies. So the first is what you do is you have an HTML template that you populate with context or customized. And it's the same template that you just do for every business, but they don't really know that. Looks pretty and stuff. You could have like, I don't know, AI help you search an image library or generate some background image. I mean, like I probably wouldn't do that. I'd probably just use something really, really simple, something like this. Because I have lead data, I could probably very quickly and easily like download the profile picture and then use it to populate this. And then, I have like a 4 or 5 word thing here, a variable that I fill in, company name up here, brief little description, right? Just some simple HTML template that comes out of the box with styles. Then maybe have some like deployment info that like launches it, or maybe just set up like an N8N flow that like, is a webhook. And when they access the webhook, it returns the page, right? Like there's a variety of different ways you can do it. I've seen it done a million ways. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2 is, it depends on marketing agency, but if they do some sort of email, you could do like newsletter generation. So you could actually generate a whole newsletter, again, based off of a template or something like that. You could do some sort of creative generation. Let's say they're PPC agencies or something like that. Then you could do PPC creative based off of some trending stuff that you've seen on ad libraries. You could do some like proposal template, like really high quality, clean proposal templates. You could do tons of things like slide decks. Yeah, list goes on and on and on. But basically anything that is used day to day in a marketing agency's like job, you can, in the usual function of a marketing agency, you can just generate with AI. But yeah, probably like the biggest dick one, to be honest, is the HTML template customized with context, because the person on the other end of the line is like, oh my God, there's a whole website? You just made me a whole website? It's like, yeah, baby, I customized that. All right, Mamin says, Nick, I started liking your videos before watching them. Thank you very much, my friend. And very cool profile pic. We got a Hunter x Hunter fan in the house. Scooby says, creating an OBS scene to prevent an email poacher might be your quickest and simplest approach, at least until you've whipped up a more robust way of handling that. Question, would you ever consider doing some sort of vlog style one time? You seem to have a keen structure for time management, so I'd be interested to see a day in the life for you. How do you juggle your health, business, and personal life? I feel environment is a key element to growth in facets. What is your thought on that? Well, my first thought is, I already figured it out, baby. That's me blurring the hell out of the layer that comes in. How cool is that, huh? Yeah, now you guys can't see shit. What are you going to do with this? Yeah, not bad, huh? So here's what I do, man. I jump on a call. I just blur my screen. Problem solved. I got a filter. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. How cool is that? For real. How cool is that? Now, I'm still going to access like the website. Can you still like, what does it look like when I do stuff? You know, still going to, oh, look at this in my email. Oh, but you guys can't see shit. Yeah. So I'm just going to do this. So yeah, anyway, problem solved. I'm so stoked about this, man. I've been like looking for ways to do this in real time forever. And like the fact that I can now is the coolest thing in the world, whole wide world. Anyway, let me turn that off before somebody starts yelling at me. Okay. Yes, dude, I'm not the only one getting a 0.5% reply rate, says Con John. Yeah, I mean, tell me about it. I wonder what my reply rate is now for that campaign that I was sending and showing you guys. I turned it off. I still have yet to return it on. I will get back to the lead gen stuff. I just have unfortunately had way too much. It looks like a 69 in the Unibox, 1.3, 1.1, 1.5. So hopefully you guys remember what I was saying here. Let me just turn this off. Hopefully you guys remember what I was saying. I actually if you guys remember, I was like, this will have a 1.3 or 1.4% reply rate. And then I just stopped sending and then the reply rate, they kept on going, right? This one has a 1.5. This is like really the main one. So why don't I just like, hey guys, why don't I just do this? Why don't maybe I pop on one of these puppies? Huh? What are you going to do about this now? Oh, that's so cool. Wow, that's great. 158K a month. Wow, that's gigantic. No weddings, no videography. Wow, super cool. Yeah, a lot of people are asking me about Nick Saraev, who that fellow is, because I'm pitching it as like I'm not Nick Saraev, right? So let's see. How many people responded positively on July the 11th? I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I was on the 11th. So 6 positive responses on the 10th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jesus. So yeah, 5 and then 6. So man, in like 2 days, I got so many of these positive responses. It's crazy. Suffice to say, I'm pretty stoked about this. I think like, without a doubt, I get a boatload of positive responses here. Who's going to tell him that the videos he made doesn't include a screen? Nobody's going to tell me that. Crypto Fitness, thank you. Love your videos, Nick, but everything requires investment here and broke, lol, but I always find my way around. Much love, heart. Thank you, Kime. Thanks, Nick. You solved my problem, brother. Thank you, Akash. Siad says, hey, Nick, appreciate everything you're doing, man. My question, I'm targeting coaches and I found a Facebook group which allows a paid promotion. I wanted to know, what would you post to get leads from this group if you're at the edge of going broke and using only your savings to be able to post here? Paid promotion. I don't know if I do this. Like, I don't know too much about this, to be honest. I really don't. It's hard for me to say definitively that you should or you should not do Facebook promotions because your group might suck. So if I say, yeah, that sounds great, and then your group blows and you're just going to piss away your money and probably get angry at me. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I would focus on organic if you're really broke. And to be honest, like, if you are completely broke, I might just get a job, Like, this entrepreneurship stuff is nice and fun, but yeah, if I could go back in time and change the way that I did it, I definitely would not just go out on the deep end. And as I've mentioned multiple times, live in garages and really crappy little studio apartments where people shoot up downstairs because I can't afford anything but rice, beans, and ramen. I get the whole hustle culture, but I don't know. Okay, God's Creation TV-06X says, question 1, if I join Maker School and start an AI business in early 2026, is it still realistic to earn $30,000 to $40,000 a month? Is it realistic to earn $30,000 to $40,000 a month? Well, I mean, like, if we're being clear here, like, very few people earn $30,000 to $40,000 per month population-wise. So that part is really up to you, man. Like, is it realistic to be able to make money with this stuff? Like, yeah. But is it realistic that you are going to earn it? Like, I don't know enough about you, man. Like, I don't know your skill level, consistency, ambition, whatever. I think what you need to realize, guys, is that all of this stuff is entirely possible. It is all up to you. It is not that a niche is permissible or impermissible for businesses at the $30,000 to $40,000 a month mark. You can make any niche work for $30,000 to $40,000 a month. I know from your perspective, you're looking at that and you're thinking, holy shit, that's a lot of money. And I get it because I used to be there and I would look on people's YouTubes and I would see them making $30,000 a month. And I would say, good God, is that a lot of money? I can hardly even conceptualize how some single person would make that much money. But it is really not in the grand scheme of things. It is uncommon to make that much money. And so while you can do it, I don't know if I'd consider it realistic. It would depend on your own aptitude and your consistency. On a scale from 1 to 10, what is the success rate for this in late 2025 and throughout 2026? My friend, I am not a Nostradamus here, as cool as it would be if I was. So I can't really tell you this. What I can tell you is it's working right now. And I can tell you with reasonably high probability that it will continue working for at least the next few months. Whatever happens to this business model, I will evolve Maker School with it. I don't plan on Maker School being an AI automation community. Hopefully you guys could tell, but I'm reasonably capable. I've changed with the times a number of times so far. If the business model changes, I'm just going to change. Like, if the effectiveness of the business model changes, I'm just going to change the business model. Question 2, what's your view on AI automation saturation in tier 1 countries by 2026? Will this trend impact our agency's ability to scale during that period? And if I join Maker School and start my automation business, strictly following your advice, and invest around $2,000 in total, is it realistically still possible to make a good amount of money? We'll make this business model to next level upgraded version. All right, listen, I understand what you're asking me. I don't believe this is going to help you or anybody else that is watching. You are basically looking for any excuse not to do this. You can't look to people like me and then have me give you permission to spend this money. You really have to make that evaluation yourself. Any opinion I give you here is obviously incredibly biased because I run these programs and I work in this business model. So if I were you, if I really, really wanted to like get good data here, and I didn't want to feel like I was, this guy who was talking to me was incentivized to do so, because that's what I would think if I were in your shoes, I would just ask a bunch of people in Maker School. So maybe if you guys are watching this video, if you could do me a solid and head over here to generating 7 real leads for AI agency services in 2 hours of work, this video over here, and go find God's Creation TV-06X. If you guys are in Maker School, maybe help the fella out. I mean, you'd be doing me a solid. Give him your thoughts, because I can't really, reasonably answer this question and probably give you what you're looking for. Because if I tell you anything here, I don't think you'll really take it seriously. Manoj asks me a bunch of similar questions. The saturation occurs, will it affect agencies aiming to make 50 to 150K per month? What's this whole idea with saturation? I mean, will it affect them? Yeah. I mean, it makes things harder, but it doesn't it's not 0 to 1, guys. It's a very simplistic way of looking at it. What about larger businesses, 10 to 100 million revenue? Will they be impacted? Yeah, certainly, but less so, of course, because very few businesses make it to that point. Many experts like Liam Oatley, I think you'd find that funny, are discussing the EAI audit. What's your opinions on it? I don't know what that means. This to me seems like a business model. Anytime I see 2 or 3 acronyms stuck together like this, 2 or 3 letters stuck together in an acronym, I'm just like, oh, it's a business model. Like, anytime I see something like that, I'm like, you're probably being sold some sort of business model. I don't know what this is. So maybe it's just a framework or process or something, but yeah. Can the audit approach or its framework be included in the future curriculum? Can it? Could be. I mean, if it's cool, but this seems to me like more like a business model somebody's trying to sell you. Question 1, what are the latest updates from Maker School? I added $21,000 in discounts the other day. Includes things like a free $600 in ops cost for make.com, 20% off of N8N on annual. I think it's like a 2-week free trial as well on that. 1 year free of Webflow, year free of like Bolt. I think $2,000 in like Google Cloud Console credits, several $1,000s in Amazon Web Services credits. We got a ton of stuff, man, ton of stuff. So if you want to check that out, actually just head over to Maker School. Maker School. Go about, and I just added this little graphic. They're way more than this, but yeah. So $5,000 in DigitalOcean credits. You could use that to host an N8N thing. Self-host Stripe, $500 in credits there. $240 off Descript, 20% off of Google Workspace Plus, 75% off of Brevo, 25% off of new plan purchases on Slack, $1,000 in credits for Miro, 2 weeks free on SEMrush, 50% off basic or professional for Apollo, 20% off unlimited for ClickUp. There's 6 months free for Typeform, $1,000 in Airtable, 6 months free on business for Notion. That comes out to 12,000, although I don't know if I'd really consider that 12,000. So yeah, I mean, like I added a bunch of these, which is cool. And then I just finished refilming month 1, which is enjoyable. And then I also redid all of the modules in month 1, did some editing there. That was pretty cool. What else did I do? I added some accountability pods, which is cool, a very fun feature. And I did a couple other things that aren't coming to mind. Oh, I added like new updated lead generation and scraping methods. Yeah, the lead scraping methods were a little bit outdated, so I added a bunch with a new structure where I don't actually include all that information directly inside of the module. I create posts and then I pin the posts. Hopefully that makes sense. Abundance of Travis says, what's your thoughts on the agent-to-agent protocol replacing the need for no-code platforms or multi-agent frameworks being a preferred method of workflows, Crew and Lindy being examples? I think this is pretty cool. I don't really know if it really makes too much sense to use like an multi-agent framework right now. I find that a lot of the time there's just too much hype with these technologies early, and then there's an inevitable like crest or valley of disappointment after another 6 or 12 months, and then the tech actually gets good. And I think that's where we're at with multi-agent frameworks. I don't think the tech really is anything even remotely as good as just like building a simple traditional workflow. But like I've screwed around with both these platforms, and I like them. They're cool. Okay, one more from Dr. Jersey. Dr. Jersey says, I already have several clients, accounting firms for whom I help automate financial reports and statements for their clients. So far, no AI, just Excel and VBA. But I think they'd be good candidates for AI services or AI enhancements like natural language data analysis, trend and anomaly detection, and so on. What I run into, though, is their distrust, reluctance, and fear of entrusting their financial data to generative AI. This holds me back a bit from offering them any AI solutions because I don't know how to overcome their distrust. How would you encounter client distrust towards AI, especially when it comes to fears about data misusage or leaks? How do you address these concerns and explain data security when implementing AI solutions? Do you have any proven methods for reassuring clients and overcoming their fears? Yeah, I think this is a great question, Dr. Jersey. If you're working with like, mid-market up, maybe mid-market or enterprise, you're going to run into like data concerns and PII, personal identifying information, fancy 3-letter acronym they care a lot about at that level, tends to be a problem. So what can you do really? Well, if in your case, you're automating financial reports, there's a really easy and simple way around that. All you do is you just anonymize the data before it gets sent to the AI module. And then you can you can stick the personal identifying information back later, but like when you send it over to the AI to have it generate the report, you just do it like without any personal identifying information. Okay, so what does this actually look like in a practical sense? You build some sort of template, right? That template is for a specific client and has procedural variables like client name, client business, client earnings, whatever. That part of the template is procedural. What you do then is you remove all of this information. So anything that is personalized, you remove, and then you feed the remainder into AI to have it do things like generate a report for you or generate a summary of some statistics. Then you take the output of that AI module, and then you use that as a templated variable, and then you stick that inside of that report. So now you have all of the personal identifying information within the automation platform or VBA or Excel or whatever, but it never actually touches the generative AI platform, which solves that problem for you. So, it's about being smart and nuanced with it, I would say. I do understand some of the concerns regarding generative AI, but this is a good way to hack it together in such a way that it doesn't actually, doesn't actually ruin it. Hey, Nick, love the video. Quick question. How do you set up the e-signature thing in your email? It looks super clean, and I'm wondering if you could walk us through the setup process so we can get ours looking like that too. I'm not sure what he means by this. E-signature thing in your email. What is he talking about? E-signature thing. Are you talking about my newsletter? Oh, I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know, man. All right, guys. So we are again running into that campaign problem. Sorry, the daily updates problem where it's just a lot of questions. I don't know what to do. I'm a little lost. What the hell should I do? I'm trying to answer these questions in such a way that, Yeah, I'm trying to answer these questions in such a way that you guys could watch this on 2x speed, so I'm not, like, blitzing through really quickly, and I'm trying to keep everything pretty uniform. I was listening back to some of my content earlier, and I realized I couldn't listen to it at 2x speed, so I'm trying to fix that. But I don't really know what I'm gonna do about this because it makes my damn videos super long. I was, capable of answering twice as many questions the same amount of time when I was super, super rapid firing through it. So maybe what I have to do is I just have to go back to speaking super, super, super quickly, and then I can do twice as many questions the same amount of time. Something like that. That'd be pretty fun. I gotta become like an auctioneer, man. I gotta talk way faster. That's how I do it. Cram 2 times as many answers in one video. Aw, man. Thank you, Max Drone. Or maybe I just identify statements as opposed to questions. I'm not sure. Anyway, why don't we now do some brand stats, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you very much for being with me on this journey. I started tracking on my birthday at 45,916 subs and 1,612 on Instagram. Now we're at 155,653 and 255,957. So why don't we actually just update this, get the new updated subscriber count, paste that in there. Ooh, 0.47 growth is underperforming. And over here, when we get this growth, 8,510. This is okay. And then for my Instagram, why don't we stack this puppy on? 258. Okay. And then why don't I just go Nick _ Saraev here. Last post is about Lindy. This is pretty sick. Previous one was Kimmy. This was about Cluey. Obviously the guys that I was just telling you about. N8N automation before. Let's see, what are the view counts looking? Ooh, yeah. DeepSeek one. Man, anything with DeepSeek just crushes, huh? Odd. 216K. Gigantic. This one's 177. 315 again for DeepSeek. Dude, every time I mention DeepSeek, it's a win. Is it that 1-to-1? Let's see. What's the other DeepSeek? Okay, this one underperformed. This one did really well. Wow. I'm not really sure. I mean, there's obviously some sort of thing, but whatever. Yeah, so that's going really... Oh, you guys can't see any of that. Yeah, sorry about that. Well, anyway, this is my Instagram. And then, yeah, I was just going through my posts, and some of them have disproportionate views. 216, 163, 259, right? And this is the brand stats update for today, just in case that was cut off as well. All right. So the question is, what am I going to do now? Well, why don't I show you guys my OBS thing. One thing I need to do is I need to duplicate this filter, say blurred screen share. This now has to go and add a composite blur filter. Ah, geez, it looks like it's doing the source itself. That sucks. Okay, let me just turn off this composite filter here. What I need to do, if I just turn off this blur, is I need to have 3 scenes. I need to have a talking head scene. And then for my call recordings, I need to have this scene, which allows me to share my screen. Then I need to have a blurred screen share scene that I can click on. So how am I going to do that? Well, I need to duplicate this, and then I need to call it blurred screen capture. Oh, shit. I'm sorry. Why is this happening? Is this the same? No, it's still the same. Why is this happening? All right, you know what I think I have to do? Whoa, what happened to me? Oh, yeah. Sorry. I'm screwing around with these settings here, but I'll tell you what. Oh, no, don't do that. Okay, I think what I have to do is actually have to add another screen capture that is only present over here, not over here. So instead of me, so let me just see if I copy this and then I could paste the duplicate. No, I can't duplicate it, so I need to create a new one. So I'm going to go to blurred screen share here. I'm going to go screen recording, screen capture, and I'll say blurred screen. Okay, and then this looks good to me. Here, I'm going to move it down here. What I want to do is I just want to remove this. Yes. So now I have blurred screen capture here, which I can now rename to normal screen capture. This is going to include the blurred screen. So where is this happening? Why are we going the entire thing? I need to make this smaller, don't I? I think I need to copy the filters. I need to paste these filters. Oh, it didn't work. How big is this now? 207, 206, 116, right? Let's go 207 now. And then this one's 206. Then it's 116. Okay. Think this is good now. And now I can go to the filters. I can add a composite blur. When I go back to screen share, I don't have it. When I go here, I do. Nice. Cool. So I think I have this now. We now have some additional functionality that I added live on the call. Now, can you de-blur Gaussian? Is it possible? I don't know. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to go and I'm going to add a screen. I'm going to add a quick system setting. No, that's not it. I'm going to go add a hotkey, which I've already forgotten how to do. I think I go to preferences and I think I go here. What are my hotkeys? Command Shift 1, Command Shift 2. How do I switch to this scene? I'm not seeing it. It's not allowing me to. Blurred screen share. Oh, here we go. 3. Oops. Apparently triggers Loom, so I can't have this with Loom. Oh no, apparently it just takes a screenshot of my... Nope, can't do that. Nope, can't do that. 0, I guess. So 1, 2, 0. 1, 2, 0. That's cool. Awesome. Well, that's fun. So now I can very easily just blur my screen when I need to if I'm accessing stuff. So I think what I do is I go back here, I unblur, and I blur. Okay, cool. So now I got to go back here, and then I got to go to properties and then hide this from screen cap. And I'll go over here. I'm also going to hide this from screen cap. This is now going to allow me to do the blur anytime I want. And then I can unblur it. Cool. Awesome. So now let's test this out because we now have something that works. I need to open up PandaDoc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go like this. I'll go PandaDoc. I'll open it up. You guys can see the outline of PandaDoc, which obviously implies that there is stuff here, but you guys can't see anything else. So now I'll go here. I'm actually going to create a document based off of this. I'm not going to name it right now. I'm not going to add the recipient. Now that I'm done this initial staging step, I can just jump right in, show you guys my actual screen. Now we can actually continue working down this. Isn't that cool? Okay, cool. So what do I have to do here, ladies and gentlemen? I have to create a quick proposal document for one of the clients or one of the prospects that I was pitching a couple days ago that I've just been dragging my feet on sending stuff to. I've probably already lost them. It's been like 2 or 3 days or something. And it happens. You know, I just got a little too busy with this and it was obviously not a priority relative to the other ass loads of money that I'm making. But yeah, I figured I would show you guys how I do it. So I have a proposal template over here, which is for a growth partnership, where basically I charge people $2,920 to create an offer and set up a campaign, $98 per book sales call, or $1,980 to create the thing, and then 9% of all revenue generated. It's kind of one or the other, right? So I'm going to pitch the guy that I was chatting with over the call on this. Looks pretty clean and pretty sexy. And I'm even going to go as far as like guaranteeing a certain amount of performance here. I'm not going to take on the cost myself. I'm going to have him do the costs. But yeah, let me just show you guys how I do it. So the very first thing I do is I always just write inside of my template here something hyper personalized. Let's be direct. The purpose of a business is to generate revenue. And right now, blank is having a problem doing so. You have a wealth of experience and demonstrated authority in your space, so much so that you're turning down giants like AT. But the lead generation is, let's do particular. No defined, inconsistent pipeline. T, but the lead generation is clearly lacking. Your current approach, outside sales, is not consistently generating opportunities, creating opportunities for you. And the few that have materialized are often unqualified and not sellable. There are two costs to this. The direct cost you're paying your current outside salesperson, which I believe was somewhere around 6,000. Was it $6,000 a month? I think it was $6,000 a month. I'm gonna have to double check after this, but whatever. And your tools, which I believe was somewhere around $1,500 a month. And second, the opportunity costs of not having a stable, having booked meetings on your calendar, which I would go as far as to say costing you at least $20,000 a month or more. Cool. Let's do 2, and then here I'm going to say that another big issue is unqualified. The above issue manifests as 2 costs. Direct costs, opportunity costs, okay. No doubt your back-end fulfillment is something to match. Is what to match? I have no doubt your back-end fulfillment. Serving the space so much that you're turning down giants like AT&T. I have no doubt your is up to par as well. But your lead gen acquirable and not sellable. You have to do in addition, when you do get those leads, you often have to do more legwork up front to get them ready. Cool. Yeah, this is probably how I'd pitch this. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, I think I'm going to call it there. Thank you guys so much for watching another daily update. As you guys see here, the way that I do these proposals is primarily templated. The only real section that'll fill in is just the problem statement that I'm seeing. So in this case, inconsistent pipeline, ongoing expenses. Everything else here is 100% pre-written. And what I get to do by doing this is I get to write a customized section initially, which as you can see takes maybe like 3 to 5 minutes. And then everything else here seems, from their perspective, as if I also wrote it, right? That's the benefit of starting off with something that speaks directly to the business owner, not just some templated executive summary or whatever. Now, one thing I don't like about this is I'm still branding this as we. I think this could be good depending on the niche that you're working with. Obviously, these prices here I'm going to update for the specific lead as well. I do so using this little edit quote feature. But yeah, this is more or less the process that I go through every time. And I have a couple of other templates like this for different services. Systems proposal is the main one. I also have an NDA and then a consulting agreement too. So yeah, hopefully you guys saw what this looks like. I'm going to spend a little bit of time going through actual client details. Thanks for staying along with me while I figured out the blur screen feature as well. It's going to be pretty fun. And I'll catch you all in the next video. Thanks so much.